All right. This week in Destiny for 2/19/2026. Okay. Before jumping into this week's topics, we wanted to share again, because it's posted on Twitter yesterday, the news about Shadow and Order from yesterday. Okay. Our next major update, Destiny 2 Shadow and Order, is undergoing large revisions and will be delayed. This update is being changed and expanded to include sizable quality of life updates, and as a result, will also be renamed. So it will not be called Shadow and Order. Okay, um, this update will now launch on June 9th, 2026. Yes, that is right, people. June 9th, 2026. We heard rumors that the delay was going to be to April. Then we heard possibly March. It's actually June 9th. So we're looking at another 3 months, or actually not 3 months. We're looking at around 4 months, a 4 month delay, about 4 month delay. We will provide exact details closer to release covering previously announced weapon tier upgrading, but also additions like expanding tiered gear to all raid and dungeon activities, Pantheon 2.0, tier 5 stats for exotic armors, and more. Through June, we will continue to have routine bug fixes and stability improvements, continue portal modifiers, Guardian Games, which launches in March, and the return of the more frequent Iron Banner cadence, which drops in April. Finally, we finally have some news on Iron Banner. That's a win for me. W's in the chat, in my personal opinion. In terms of communication, we'll be focusing on providing you with the updates about our live game content, community activation, and general upkeep through the TWID and our Destiny social channels. Thank you for your continued patience and support. We will have more information on our next major update and future plans for Destiny 2 closer to launch. Okay. All right, people. First off, a round of applause for Bungie for finally dropping some news. Okay, that's actually not gonna work because I'm on the right tab, so I'll do it myself. Okay. All right. I am happy that Bungie has finally dropped some information on the news. Okay. What is my takeaway from this? It definitely does suck. Okay. It definitely is sad news. It is definitely something that I personally, I can't speak for everybody, but I'm sure everybody kind of feels this way though. It's definitely something that we were all kind of aware of. With Shadow Order was supposed to drop in a matter of weeks and not hearing anything from Bungie, we all kind of felt like something was going to happen, that there was a delay. And again, we heard a delay was going to happen till April. Then we heard at the latest possibly May. And now we're hearing it's June 9th. Okay. How do I feel about it? I don't feel that bad about it. And I'll tell you why. First and foremost, I believe in Bungie. Okay. You know, earlier when I grabbed my D1 and I said, hey, I do this shit. I play this shit. I play Destiny because it's one of the most exciting, fun enjoyments of a video game I have played in a very long time, right? So the news that the next iteration in the Destiny universe is delayed, it doesn't feel all that bad to me because I know when it does drop, I'm still going to have fun. It's still going to be exciting. I'm still going to enjoy playing the game. Even with past drops that, let's just say, didn't meet the criteria for me, as you know, in greatness, like let's say Lightfall, for example. Lightfall wasn't that great. You know, I didn't particularly like the storyline, but I did have fun playing it. And I enjoyed a lot of the new weapons, the new modes. I enjoyed the map and stuff. I just didn't like the storyline as much, but I still had fun playing it because at its core, for me, Destiny's a very fun, enthusiastic game to play. Now, does that mean I'm not upset? Yes, I'm still upset. I think Bungie has dropped the ball numerous times. This should have not happened. But I also will say personally that I don't think this is all Bungie's doing. I see a lot of people on social media that are, you know, waving the tiki torches. They're pointing the fingers and they want to come for Bungie's throat. And granted, like by all means, like Bungie does definitely have something to do with this. Like I'm not saying that Bungie has nothing to do with this at all. But what I'm saying is that I don't think the entire blame should be put on Bungie. I think Sony definitely takes a piece of this cake. Now, hear me out. Now, when I say that I think Sony is to be blamed, I'm not saying that blaming Sony completely at fault too, or or I'm not trying to say that when we blame Sony, like it's like a problem. I think the issue with this is that you have Sony who spent a lot of money on the IP called Bungie, right? We're talking about millions upon millions of dollars. They didn't buy Bungie for Destiny. They bought Bungie for its services, its online services, its live services and play, which obviously is incorporated into Destiny. But the problem with that is when that is failing within Destiny and Sony is losing their ROI as the days and the weeks and months go because the player base is suffering, that causes a problem to Sony, right? So when people sit here and go, oh, this is Bungie's fault, Bungie doesn't care about Destiny. Bungie is the one to be blamed. They don't want to update Destiny. All they care about is Marathon. I don't think it's because Bungie cares about Marathon only and just saying F Destiny. I think it's because the people above called Sony is basically telling Bungie, hey, you have this game Marathon coming out. We have money on this. We need to make sure we get our ROI back on this. So what that means is that this other game, which is Destiny 2, is going to have to wait. We need you guys to put all the focus, all the manpower, all the work into Marathon. And that time frame is essentially 90 days. Okay? If you look at that, how much time frame do we have into the next update? I guess rumored to be, or it could be true, June 9th. We have just about a little over 90 days. So this is what I think, and I'm probably wrong. This is just my opinion. In my opinion, what I think it is that I think Bungie really does care about Destiny 2 in the future Destiny 2. I don't think Bungie wants to see Destiny 2, die on the sword. I don't think they do. I think they really want to update. I think they want to keep this next version of whatever it's going to be for Destiny 2 coming, and they want it to be here. But Sony is telling them, hey, we want to make sure that Marathon gets its light first. We want to make sure this money that we have an investment on is going to work. So we want to make sure that all you guys make sure Marathon works, and we're going to give you 90-day window, or we're going to give you a 120-day window, all right, to put all your marbles into the Marathon basket and make it work. Okay, we want to see numbers, we want to see reviews, we want to see people playing it, we want to see social media going nuts. We want you to put everything into this game. And if that becomes successful in this 90 to 120 days, we can go back to Destiny, and then we can even start talking about the future of Destiny, which could be, who knows? I mean, we don't have a roadmap, so we don't know, but it could be Destiny 2.5, it can be Destiny 3, like we don't know. But in my honest opinion, though, I don't think it's because Bungie does not give a care about Destiny. I think it's because Sony's pulling the strings up at top, and they're telling them, your focus is Marathon for the next 3 months, because Marathon is dropping in the next 3 weeks, and we have a beta dropping in the next 2 weeks, the next week and a half. So Bungie is fully focused, or I would say the majority of the studio, because remember, it's one studio. I have 2 fingers. It's one studio working on 2 IPs, an IP that's been running for 10 plus years and an IP that's just about to drop in the next couple of weeks. So they're basically taking pretty much a chunk of their resources and they're shifting it to Marathon for this launch. I don't see a problem with that. I really don't, because which leads to another point of mine. For the people that are hating on Marathon and are saying, F Bungie because they're foregoing Destiny and they're working on Marathon, they're exclusively on Marathon, they're giving all this, limelight to Marathon, they don't care about Destiny. People, I promise you this. You need to give a fuck about Marathon. Excuse my language. You need to care about Marathon, because if Marathon does not work out, if Marathon does not become the game that Bungie or even Sony wants it to be, you could probably kiss the future of Destiny. And I mean the broad future, right? Because who knows what's going to happen the next year? Maybe the next year and a half, next 2 years is solidified for Destiny 2. But beyond that, which could be Destiny 3, for example, or maybe Destiny 2.5, whatever the case may be, that's probably not going to exist. For Destiny's future to live on, I honestly believe Marathon needs to succeed. It needs to succeed, because in Sony's eyes, Sony is not going to give Bungie any money or give them any more of a platform for a new IP, because Destiny 3 or whatever new version of Destiny that may be will be considered a new IP. if Marathon fails. And Destiny 2 is currently failing. So Destiny 2 is currently failing. Marathon, if it doesn't succeed or do something well in the next 30 or next 90 to 120 days, why would Sony greenlight a project like Destiny 3? It doesn't make any sense. It'd be a loss of ROI. Because at that point, if we can't trust Bungie, if you're Sony and you're like, we can't trust Bungie with Destiny 2 because it's failing, and then they release Marathon, which has a lot of money back behind it, and in the first 90 to 120 days, it completely failed, why are we going to give them money to make Destiny 3? And who even knows what's the roadmap on the production of that? They could be a year away. They could be 3 or 4 years away. Why would they waste all this money in all these years for a game that might not drop until 2028, 2029? At that point, there wouldn't even be a Bungie. Bungie would have been broken off. Part of the team would have been left to work with other developers, and it'd just be complete turmoil. So yeah, I say that again. I know a lot of people are coming for Bungie's neck and they're blaming them. And there are some people blaming Sony, or pointing the finger at Sony. I should say, not blaming. But again, in my opinion, I think a lot of the strings being dangled, up top, and Bungie is the puppet. I think it's Sony. I think it's Sony saying, hey, again, you have this new IP coming. We want to make sure that it's successful. We want to make sure that the whole team behind Bungie is backing it behind. And with that said, other projects need to be put on hold. And those other projects are Destiny, right? So I think in the next 90 to 120 days, if Marathon is successful, which I hope it is, because like I said, if Marathon is successful, then the future of Destiny is bright. If Marathon is not successful, the future of Bungie we could probably say is dead. I'm just going to keep 100 with you guys. So for all you guys are saying F Marathon, I'm not going to buy it. I don't care about extraction shooters. If you are a Bungie fan and you care about Destiny, you need to support Marathon. I promise you, you need to support Marathon. Even Bungie knows that because they are targeting a lot of their Marathon ads into Destiny 2 because they know they need to get their player base behind Destiny 2 behind Marathon. Okay? Because that's how you can win. It's hard to make a game and not have a player base, and then you have to find it. Good marketing, good product, all of that comes into hand, right? Content creators, you need all of that backing the product to succeed if it's a brand new product or a brand new IP in this sense, right? But when you already have an IP that, in my opinion, I would say is successful. I think the Destiny 2, Destiny series IP is very successful. And you already have, thousands upon thousands or 100, maybe not 100,000, but thousands upon gamers who are playing the game. You could take your new IP and you can put some of that into the old IP. Like we have all kinds of shaders and weapons that kind of like mimic and stuff like that. And we have emblems that are from Marathon that is now in Destiny 2. You can grab some of your Destiny 2 core players and you can infuse them into Marathon. It's a win-win. I see why Bungie does it. So that's why I'm saying, people, don't say F Marathon. Don't say, I don't care about Marathon. You want to back Marathon. Basically what I'm trying to say. You want to back Marathon, in my opinion. And I'm going to back Marathon because I want to see the future of Destiny. And I do believe in Bungie. I know that's very hard to hear. Like, wait, what, Radius, you believe in Bungie? Yeah, I personally believe in Bungie. People make mistakes in life, right? And I think people or groups or whatever the case may be, everybody deserves another chance, right? Yes, I know Bungie's had numerous chances, but just in my opinion, I'm not going to write off Bungie. I'm not going to do it. Just my personal opinion. I'm not going to write off Bungie. I'm going to give them the opportunity to come back after Marathon, rewrite this ship, drop a new and updated, Shadow and Order, or not called Shadow and Order, whatever the new name is going to be and stuff. I'll give them that. And that's just how I feel about the matter. Okay. So that was very long-winded, people. And I'm sorry that took longer than expected. But yeah, that's just how I feel about the delay. I'm not mad at it. I understand. Look, I come from the corporate world. I've worked on many projects at previous jobs, working with multiple collaborations, teams, cross-functional teams, working through all kinds of departments where you're working through sales and marketing, product, just everybody, right? And I've worked in teams where we've had, collaborations with bigger players in the game, right? I worked with teams, in different waters, in Japan, in Australia, in the UK, and I've worked with bigger and better teams overhead. Like I've worked with teams at NBC Universal. I've worked with YSL, which is Saint Laurent, in my past life. So I understand what it's like to work with teams, bigger teams, and you don't necessarily have the say. You kind of have to do what is given to you, and it is what it is. And that's how I feel it is with Bungie. I don't think Bungie is pulling the ropes per se. I think Sony is pulling a lot of them and just telling them like, hey, look, we love Destiny. I'm sure a lot of Sony execs are saying, look, we love Destiny. We think it's a great IP. We think it's a great game. We understand there's some issues with the game and stuff. But look, you have this new game Marathon. We just want to make sure that the game does well. We just want to make sure in the first 90 to 120 days, the game does well. You guys put all your resources into it. And if it does well, we can go back to Destiny 2 and we can start talking about the new update to Shadow and Order, whatever the name's going to be. We could talk about a Destiny 2.5. We could talk about even a Destiny 3. But let's just work on Marathon first. Let's get the ball rolling with Marathon first. Let's see how that plays out. And let's get the backing behind that first. We'll give you guys 90 days. We'll give you guys 120 days, Bungie, to get that working. And after that, we can start going to Destiny. That's how I see it. That's how I see it. It sucks that it is like that because if there was no Marathon, obviously there wouldn't be a delay right here, but Marathon needs its light. I understand, and I will be there to play it. My personal opinion. Okay, people, let's close that chapter out. Let's move on.